Hey, good evening, guys. We're back with another video. Thank you for everyone that contacted me regarding which videos they want to see next. So we were thinking about talking about college this evening only because it's summer and people are graduating, and also as adults we sometimes think about going back to school. So I'll speak on my experiences, and then Seth will speak on his. So for me personally, I have attended a technical school. I've attended community college and a university. So let's speak from a parent's perspective really quickly. So a little tip that I use in my household is when asking my son about college, I always ask what college he's going to, not is he going to college, because that kind of implies that there's an option there, or it kind of implies that he really doesn't have to go. So that's kind of a little tip that I use. You can choose to use that if you think it's helpful, and if not, that's okay. So let's kind of get into this. So a technical school is pretty much for certificates. It's for your trades like cosmetology, meat cutting, things of that nature. So it's about 9 months, I believe, and then you kind of get like a certificate of completion. And I went to a trade school many years ago, so that's that. At community college, you can get a degree. It's an associate's degree. I think it takes about 18 months. You can also get a certificate from a community college. Now, a community college is a lot cheaper than a university, so keep that in mind. If you are lost and you're not sure which path to take, like which major to major in, you can always start at a community college, do your prerequisites and or general education, and then you can transfer your credits over to a university. Now, just make sure that community college do transfer credits over. So always look into that. Now let's kind of talk about a university. I'll touch on that briefly. So for me personally, I went to ASU. It's a lot more expensive than a community college. You can walk away with a 4-year degree. So that's something that's good, but you also have to think of the cost of that. So just to kind of touch on that a little bit, do you want to tell your experiences?
Yes, my experience is a little bit different. I went to college as a 18-year-old. I also went to college as an adult. I also went to graduate school, to law school. I've also went to a private school and a public school. So from my experience going to college right out of high school as a private school, and then later going to a state school, I think that one of the things that everybody would be best served doing is the process of going to college where you're figuring yourself out. In other words, where you're trying to figure out what subjects interest you, trying a couple of different classes. That's the process that should occur in community college, because it's way too expensive to do it in a university. You're going to wind up wasting a lot of money trying to figure it out. So the better approach is to figure that out through community college, take some of the basic requirements of community college, and then go on to the full university. And with respect to private school versus state school, you do what I think is best for you. I will say that I don't really perceive there to be much of a difference. You can get just as good of an education at a state school, which is a heck of a lot cheaper than a private school. And with all of this, at the end of the day, figuring out what fits you and your goals best is the most important thing.
And just to kind of touch on what Seth was talking about, really quickly, I received my associate's degree from a community college. It was in mortuary science. And I remember a young lady actually really belittled me for having that degree. I guess it wasn't really much up to her standards. So, she really made me feel bad. However, looking back, I think I actually made more money than she did at that time, because in the mortuary industry, you actually make a really good living. So never let a person talk down to you or make you feel bad about any choices that you make. Some progress is better than no progress. So with that, you have anything else to add?
Well, just one thing, and that's since you mentioned ASU, I have to mention U of